Fox 61 News at 10 starts now.
Breaking news at 10, a homicide in Hartford. What we're learning tonight about the latest deadly shooting in the capital city.
Jean-Jacques sentenced in the killing of a Norwich woman 7 years ago. Tonight, we'll hear from her mother and her pursuit of justice.
I just heard my mother gasp, "It's the baby!"
Unseen danger. In a special report, we hear from one Connecticut mother whose son was killed in their driveway and the technology that could prevent tragedies like this.
There you go.
He made it.
And still swinging. We'll introduce you to one Connecticut man who's blind and hitting the golf course at 90.
But we begin with breaking news in Hartford as police investigate a homicide and a car crash. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Ben Goldman.
And I'm Jen Bernstein. A man is dead after being shot while behind the wheel, his car then crashing afterward. This shooting eerily similar to one that happened in Southington overnight. A man from Waterbury killed after being shot in the head. That man crashing his car just a short time later.
Fox 61's DeAndrea Turner joining us live in Hartford tonight with what we're learning about the deadly shooting there. DeAndrea?
Well, Ben and Jen, as you can see behind me, it is still a very active scene. Police are in the street. You can see they are looking at something in the street with cones down. And this scene has been active since 5:30 this afternoon. And right now, investigators aren't releasing the name of the victim, but they do tell us that he is in his 20s. And I've also been told that investigators are going door to door canvassing to see if neighbors saw anything, heard anything, or may have any surveillance video of exactly what happened today. And police also tell us that this incident looked like it was a road rage incident gone bad. The shooting started as a car crash around Flatbush Avenue and New Park Avenue. There were two people in the victim's car at the time, the victim and a girl who's not hurt, but she is at the hospital. Police tell us the suspect hit the back of the victim's car and then proceeded to drive off. Then the victim followed the suspect. Police say then the passenger in the suspect's car got out and began shooting. The victim was shot in the head and crashed his car into a tree through a fence on Hillside Avenue. And police have recovered the suspect's car, but they are still looking for that suspect.
Our initial investigation, we believe it was it stemmed from an accident. Again, that can change as the course of the investigation goes on, but that's what we believe at this point. It was a targeted attack. It wasn't a random shooting at citizens.
And because police say this was a targeted attack, they do not believe that anyone is in danger at this moment. However, this is Hartford's 33rd homicide of the year, just one away from 34, which was the homicide rate of last year. As this story continues to develop, we'll have more on air and online. For now, here in Hartford, DeAndrea Turner, Fox 61 News.
DeAndrea, thank you. And developing at 10, another similar situation playing out in Southington overnight as police there are also investigating a homicide and a crash. A car hit a utility pole on Queen Street across from Outback Steakhouse just after midnight. 28-year-old Jose Principe was pronounced dead shortly after the crash, but investigators say that's not how he died.
The medical examiner has ruled the cause of death as a homicide, and the cause of the homicide they're saying was a result of a gunshot wound to the torso.
At the scene of the crash, police arrested 43-year-old Victor Perez of Meriden after he didn't cooperate with officers and had a loaded gun on him. Since Perez is a convicted felon, he's charged with criminal possession of a pistol, but it's unclear if he'll be charged in Principe's death.
New at 10 tonight, we're hearing from the mother of a Norwich woman after the man convicted of killing her was sentenced to 60 years in prison without parole. This comes after he received the same sentence in 2016, but it was overturned due to issues with the trial evidence. Fox 61's Brooke Griffin joins us live outside New London Superior Court after talking with Casey Chadwick's mother tonight. Brooke.
Well, here in court on Wednesday, Jean-Jacques learned that he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison for the murder of Casey Chadwick. But Chadwick's mother tells me that although that sentencing does bring justice, she said there's never any such thing as closure.
The pain will never go away. It'll be there every day. It's the worst thing to happen to me in my entire life. I just can't believe no one should have to bury their child.
a pain that Wendy Brown has lived with for more than 7 years. Her daughter, Casey Chadwick, was stabbed to death in June of 2015. Her killer, Jean-Jacques, an immigrant from Haiti who was in the country illegally, was charged with murder and put on trial. He was sentenced to 60 years in prison, but in 2019, the sentence was overturned by the state Supreme Court and called for a retrial. That retrial began earlier this year and resulted in the same sentence, 60 years in prison.
Ultimately, we retried the case in April and May and got another guilty conviction.
Brown says this is the outcome they were hoping for.
He will die in prison. That's fine with me.
She says her family is happy with the court's decision, but that doesn't change what happened.
Her blood was on his clothes and her blood was on him. It's cut and dry, right there. Cut and dry.
She says she spends every day thinking about what Casey's life might look like today, whether she would maybe have a family or even a great job. But instead, she has to remember that those options were ripped away.
He's gonna never see the light of day, and he doesn't deserve to. And Casey should still be here. I feel that way since the day she's died, every single day.
And Jacques and his lawyer can choose to appeal that sentence, and I'm told that they have expressed interest in doing so. But at this time, no motions to appeal have been filed. Live in New London, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61 News.
A case we have covered for a long time now. Casey's mom has been through a lot. Thank you, Brooke.
I want to move on here and get to the weather tonight on the Weather Watch. And after a beautiful day today, I think a lot of us just want things to stay the same, Rach. Is that possible?
I hear you. Well, we're going to get a little bit cooler, but because we're going to let go of the wind, I think it's going to be really beautiful stretch of weather here moving ahead, and a lot of people are going to be big fans. Today's highs were in the mid to upper 60s, even hit 70 degrees in Groton. Tomorrow will be about 10 degrees cooler than today, but again, we get rid of the wind, and we are talking about frosty nights starting tonight, but especially cooler heading into both days this weekend. A frost advisory in effect for Hartford, Tolland, and Windham counties, but anywhere inland there could be a bit of patchy frost as we head towards daybreak. Temperatures are dropping already out there in the 40s for some of the outlying areas, close to 50 for the Hartford area, and overnight lows dropping back into the 30s as we head towards daybreak tomorrow, closer to 40 towards the Connecticut shoreline. Tomorrow is a beautiful day, highs climbing into the middle to upper 50s. We'll see sunshine mixing with a few high clouds, less wind, and overall a fantastic finish to the work week. And I think this weekend we'll see even brighter conditions than what we're anticipating for tomorrow. We'll talk about it if you've got weekend plans and activities, and we're looking ahead to Halloween and the chance for some showers, but it doesn't look like a washout. We'll explain coming up.
Rachel, thank you. New at 10 tonight, an update this evening from Vernon, where police made an arrest in a robbery at a Subway restaurant on Route 83. 38-year-old Justin Richard of South Windsor is now facing 3 charges, including first-degree robbery. His arrest comes after police identified a minivan used in the robbery. Richard's now being held on a $250,000 bond. He's due in Rockville Superior Court tomorrow.
Right now, Waterbury police are looking for a hit-and-run suspect tonight. Police released these photos of the suspect's car. It's a white BMW with a soft top. The hit-and-run happened on East Main Street shortly after 6:30 yesterday evening. The victim is a 41-year-old man from Waterbury. He's currently in the hospital in critical but stable condition. Waterbury police are asking you to give them a call if you happen to recognize the white BMW or know who was driving it.
Staying in Waterbury tonight, one man is dead after a scooter and a van collided this morning. Happened on Meriden Road shortly before 6:30. Police say a 31-year-old man who was on the scooter died at the hospital. The driver of the van stayed on scene and is cooperating with police.
And new at 10, Customs and Border Protection officers have seized more than 7,000 fake driver's licenses, including some from Connecticut. Officers at Louisville's port of entry found more than 4,400 in 2 shipments from Hong Kong. About 3,300 were seized earlier this month. The latest shipment included fake IDs from 11 states, including Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey. Authorities say most of the fakes were for college-age students.
We have an update tonight in an effort to keep Connecticut clean. The state's nickel per nip program is making some big money. The program's generated over $4.2 million for cities and towns in its first full year. Under a law passed last year, a 5-cent charge is added to the sale of each 50-milliliter nip container. The program helps pay for collecting and disposing of the nip bottles. Every April and October, each city or town receives 5 cents for each nip sold within its borders during the last 6 months.
With Halloween 4 days away, DEEP is highlighting a conservation challenge for bats. At the state's nature preserve in Burlington, wildlife biologists are educating people about white nose syndrome, which is like a black plague for bats. However, there are some encouraging signs lately that bats are beginning to build up resistance.
One of the worst wildlife diseases ever on record. And we're talking millions of bats since its arrival in 2006, 2007. And we're talking 95% of certain colonies just wiped out in a single year.
Now, coming up at 11, Fox 61's Jim Altman tells us how biologists are looking to protect bats and why they're so important for our ecosystem.
Just kidding.